Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Warhammer 40k alert. You know I haven't done Warhammer 40k content in a while, but when they drop something as badass as the Horus Heresy cinematic trailer, you know I'm going to take a look. Guys, you heard what it is. This is our boys, the Horus Heresy Warhammer 30k. Let's take a look. Max volume, settings to HD. All right, let's back it up. So what's interesting, as you guys know, this is 30K, so you're way more likely to see these sort of masks. Now I think it's just the Raven Guard that uses these.
I never wanted this. I never wanted to unleash my legions. Together we banished the ignorance of old night.
Yeah, so, okay. Let's talk a little bit about where your leadership should be, because this is my pet peeve with the Primarchs, okay? So there's a heroic ideal of leadership that I think in the West is actually probably traceable back down through the Odyssey. One of the first fiction books is what we'd probably think of it as today, though it's really an epic poem. And in the Odyssey, the main characters, Achilles and Odysseus and Patroclus, they are not just the leaders of their armies, but they are fighters in their armies, and they are the leaders of their militaries because in many ways they are potent on the battlefield. They literally are the most potent soldiers. They're the strongest, and therefore that makes them de facto leaders. And this sort of idea that the leader of a military force is required to be the most potent warrior is sort of based on like a fallacy, this idea that individual skill translates to leadership skill. And a lot of professions carry this idea down, right? Look at, for example, fighter pilots. The commander of a fighter squadron is someone who started as a fighter pilot. And on one hand, you can't really lead. The argument is you can't lead an organization without having done time in the trenches, but that's not true. Then if that were the case, you know, Jeff Bezos probably never packed and shipped a book in his life, yet he's able to grow Amazon into a multi-billion-dollar business. Look at how many CEOs of a technology company were previously the CEO of a healthcare company, right? They don't spend any time, and most of the time their career trajectories never involve frontline customer service at all. They graduate from a high prestigious university, an Ivy League school. They spend some time as an investment banker or a consultant. They come back, they get their MBA, and then they either go back to consulting or enter high-level management positions, being groomed for the C-suite. So the point is that we have this old school Greek tradition that we just can't seem to get rid of, where your, best X, the best doctor is the person who should run the hospital, right? But the reality is that the skills to run an organization and the skills to thrive at the organization's mission sometimes are like diametrically opposed, right? Fighter pilots, by definition, for example, or focus narrowly on a single problem. They try to look at how do I address this situation in front of me, and oftentimes it requires you to have laser focus. But to be run an organization, you have to have a broad, sweeping vision. Anyway, the point of this is that Warhammer 40k embraces this heroic stereotype of leadership in which, even at a galactic scale, the Primarchs are literally leaders because they are the most potent fighters. And as you can see, no real army would put their chief general in an unsecured front line, right? Where are his escorts? Where are his protection? And why has no one cleared this particular battlefield? Obviously, when you're Super Primarch, you can easily thwart that sneak attack from your opposition forces, but in the real world, it's not possible. And even if that random Space Marine had somehow gotten through and wounded Horus, it would be a tremendous blow to subsequent battles.
Betrayed me. You betrayed us all. You stole power from the gods and lied to your sons. Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If
Why drag that person just to dump him randomly?
you will not seize it, then I will!
Yeah, no escort, easily within range of these Titans. This is just bad positioning on his part. He's also completely uncovered. What do they call it? When you stand on the crest of a hill, you're silhouetted. He's perfectly silhouetting himself back there. Again, if that Titan were to just think a little bit, they could start putting rounds into the leader of this rebellion.
So let it be war.
There we go. Here we got some more Primarchs fighting. Okay, probably the best part of this is that it's showing combined arms warfare at its, maybe not at its finest, but definitely up there. You can see that armor and tanks and even these Titans being supported by infantry. The infantry are protecting them at ranges that are too close for them to protect themselves. And in exchange, the infantry or the tanks and Titans are pushing the battle line forward. They're pushing back the enemy with their volume of fire.
From the skies of terror to the galactic rim. Let the seas boil. Let the stars fall. Though it takes the last drop of my blood, I will see.
Still gonna maintain that I just hate the shooting from the hip. I understand when you're a super space marine, you can shoot from the hip and shoot perfectly accurate because they're superhuman. It's just bad form.
The galaxy freed once more. And if I cannot save it from your failure, Father, then let the galaxy burn.
Dun dun. Dun dun. Dun dun. Yep, the other thing that I think is just great about the Horus Heresy is that it captures the futility of war, right? A lot of times, especially politicians, do all sorts of mental gymnastics in every country to convince you that war is a good thing. It's going to get new technology. It'll stimulate the economy. It's going to, inspire national unity. They come up with all sorts of mental gymnastics. But the truth is, war diverts resources, people, things, productive capacity that should be contributing to the economy, and it diverts it into something that is inherently destructive. It takes good workers with tremendous economic potential, right? Healthy young men with lots of working productive years ahead of them, and it diverts them into the toxic and meat grinder of combat. It takes resources like, bombs, guns, but metal, steel, chemicals, all of those plants should be manufacturing something else, but instead they are diverted to, well, producing something that's only purpose is to be blown up and exploded. And the Horus Heresy basically crippled mankind and put it into a death spiral. So the result, it accurately portrays the way in which sometimes a country with a strong enough economy can weather a war. But the fact is that it really can't. It can't weather a war of a certain scale. And wars are drains on the economy, even the victors. Sometimes you can emerge on top from a war if you're able to defeat an economic rival, or in the case of the United States in World War II, your economy is intact, not destroyed, while every other major industrial economy in the world is gone, meaning that the U.S. was able to divert its manufacturing capacity to provide goods and services for these countries. But the only reason they were able to purchase those goods and services is because the United States gave them the money to buy their goods. So all it was the U.S. investing in its own economy with extra steps. Anyway, all this to say that the Horus Heresy really captures the fact that wars, especially civil wars, are so toxic and destructive to the country they take place in. And in this case, the galaxy. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown. I certainly enjoyed it. Fun fact, I don't actually know if this is like a game or like an update to the 30K trailer or what, but I'm excited for it. Let me know in the comments if there's other Warhammer videos you want me to check out. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.